Hello everyone, in this video I'll be explaining you the problem separation, and it was asked in codechef contest starter of 213. So let's read out the problem. You are given an integer array A, which has n elements of length n as well as integer x. So x is said to be separated if there exists at least one index I, which is greater than equals to 1 less than n, okay, such that a of I is less than x and a of I plus 1 is greater than x, or a of I is greater than x and a of I plus 1 is less than x. Don't worry, these things I'll be telling you. That is, x is said to be separated if A contains a pair of adjacent elements with one of them being strictly less than x and other being strictly larger than x. So there should be at least one. Okay, this sentence is very important. So you can freely rearrange the elements of A however you like. Is it possible to make x not separated? Okay, so yeah, let's see the input format. So they have given test cases, and for every test case we have two integers n and x. N is basic length of the array and x is basically the separate parameter. And in the second line of each test case we have n elements, and we are allowed to arrange the elements. So okay, um, yeah, let's look into some examples. They've given three test cases. In the first test case we have ns4, xs4 and 1524. So let's move on to the board. 1524. Where's my chalk? So 1524 as the array elements, n as 4 and x is also as 4. Now in the question what they said is we have array A whose length is n, okay, and we have array elements ai, right? Now the thing they have asked is you'll have to find at least one pair. Not pair, I mean at least one, or one of the two. I'll be telling what is one of the two. So when you see array element A as I, which is strictly less than x, this is strictly, and this x has to be I mean a of I strictly less than x and x has to be strictly less than a of I plus 1, adjacent elements. I and I plus 1 are adjacent elements. So if this is the case, or they have said this a of I is strictly greater than x and this x is strictly greater than a of I plus 1. Basically when you have two adjacent elements, so this has some value. If you try to plot in a number line, so it has some value, x has some value, and x has some value, and it should be strictly greater than this, the previous one, and it should be strictly less than the next one. So our graph has to be increasing slope. This is the first case. Now in the second case what they have said is or it can be this other way around, like the previous element is greater and the x is lesser, strictly less than that, and your next element is strictly smaller than that. So you have one more graph in this way. So basically a sloping graphs, okay, in mathematical terms. So what you need to find is they've given array A and you are allowed to make arrangements. You can make any arrangement, and now we need to find out uh, if we have at least one pair wherein this condition is satisfied. So okay, if this is the pair, if that is satisfied, then it is not separated, I guess. Is said to be separated. Okay, if this condition satisfies, then it is separated, or else it is not separated. Right? And in the question which they have asked, is it possible to make not separated? Okay, if it is separated, which means if any one of the conditions satisfies this condition, then it is said to be separated. Okay, and if it is separated, then we'll have to output no, and if it is not separated, then we'll have to output yes, because in the question they have asked, see if it is not separated, right? That's why if it is not separated, then yes, if it is separated, then no. Understood? Now let's try to let's take this example and understand. Now what I want to do is, the given array is this thing 1 5 2 4. Now I will not make any arrangement. If I'm not making any arrangement, you have 1 5 as one pair, I mean adjacent elements, 1 5 2 4, 5 2 and 2 4. So now let's try to insert 1 is there. Now x has 4 and the next element is 5. As you can see, uh, this is strictly less than 4 and 4 is strictly less than 5. So it is separated, right? Since it is separated, and our in the question they've asked, you need to make arrangement in such a way that it is not separated. So this is not a valid arrangement, right? Okay, not a valid arrangement. Let's try to take one more example. 5 we have, and then 4 we need to put, and then 2 we have. Now it is in this way, this graph. uh, the previous element is greater, I mean current element is greater than the x is greater than the next element, and this was the case of this graph. Now in case of 2 and 4, it is not valid on. Why? Because see, here it will be 2 is lesser, 4 we have got, and then this is getting constant in case of graph. But it shouldn't be the case. They have asked it should be either this or should be either this. Okay, so it is not strictly greater, that's why. So here the observations, you will have to do it, right? The best observations you need to do is, see, first let's try to arrange one element. Let's take 1 2 and then 4 and then 5. We'll take this one. Now this is the array element, right? Now we have 1 2 as adjacent element, place 4. So in this case, as you can see, the slope is not valid, because you have 1 here, then 4 and then 2 we have here, so it is not valid. Now 2 and 4 you can take, middle one is x elements. Okay, so in this case also, as you can see, you have 2 4 and then again 4. It is straight, it should be either sloping or decreasing one. Now 4 and 5 also, if you see, you have 4, x has 4 and then 5. 4 I'm taking this, 5 I'm taking this, and x I'm taking here. Right, you have 4, one more 4 you have, then you have 5. So this is one of the valid arrangement wherein for all the adjacent elements, these two conditions are not satisfying. I mean, either this or this conditions are not satisfying. If it is not satisfying, then it is not separate, right? If it is not satisfying, then not separate. If it is not separate, then we'll have to display yes, right? So this is not very important, but thing is, arrangements and all is very important. So this is one of the valid arrangement wherein the condition is not satisfied. I mean slope condition are not satisfied. If yeah, it is not satisfied, then it is a valid arrangement. So in this case, it is a valid arrangement. Now let's try to understand how to solve this problem, because arrangements we can't find it, right? We'll have to look into the problem statement. See, no matter what you make arrangements, okay, when you make okay, let's try to understand this. First you need to sort this array. Let's sort this. When you sort this array, right, if your x was lesser than this the smallest element, okay, your if x is lesser than 1, so in that case, what would be your answer? It is not separated, right? Because no matter you take any adjacent elements, your x will not hold these two graphs, right? So if it is not satisfying, then it is not separated. Okay, this we have got one observation. If x is less than the smallest element, here it is 1, that's why I'm taking 1, but it is smallest element. Now same case, you take greater element, right? Here it is 5. If your x is greater than 5, so no matter you take any combination, I mean adjacent elements, or you can make any arrangements, your these conditions will not hold good. Okay, sloping conditions, I think you're getting. So if x is greater than greater element, then your answer is yes, because it is not separated. Your answer will be yes. If it is smaller than, again it is yes. Okay, understood. Now, okay, two observations were made. If it was smaller than and it was greater than. Got it. These two observations, let's keep in mind. Now, one thing you'll have to understand. Okay, see, what I'm trying to say is, one thing you'll have to understand. No matter any arrangements you make, right, any permutations you make, so in that case there'll be at least like let's say your x is 3 in this case. Okay, when x is 3 in this case, so no matter you take any arrangement, let's take 1 2 4 5 is one of the arrangement. So this is the place wherein it is adjacent, sorry, separate. These conditions are satisfied. Now the next arrangement would be this thing, right? Now here in this case also it is satisfying. The next arrangement will be, now here in this case it will be satisfying. See, x is 3, so it will be satisfying. So whatever you make arrangement, if your this x element is not equals to any of the element and it is between the smallest and the largest element, then it is it is always separated. It will always hold that condition. What I'm trying to say is, if for the first case was x is less than smallest, then it is not separated. If x is greater than bigger number, the greatest number, it is not separated, right? This is, and the third observation is, if these two conditions are not satisfying, now we'll have to check if this x is equals to any of the element in the array. If it is not the case, here it was the case, so we had a valid arrangement where we could make in such a way that this condition is not holding. But when the array, the x is between the smallest and largest element, so in that case, no matter you make any arrangement, it will always be separated only. You try to take this example and you try to make all the valid permutations. It will be I think 16 permutations. So you can make that and try it. So why I'm trying to say is that whatever arrangement you are making, right, whatever arrangement you're making, there will be a smaller element and there will be a bigger element wherein those are adjacent, and in that case your x, since it is between smaller and larger, it will always hold good here. So like whatever arrangement you try to make, okay, let's take one more arrangement. Here you need to take 5 and 4. Okay, 1 2 5 and 4. I think I've said this 1 2 5 and 4. I've not said this. Like what I did is, I try to make this 5 and 4 this way. So here your x is not valid, here also your x is not valid, sorry, here it is valid, because 3 if you try to put, it will be this sloping graph, right? So okay, since we had either we need to find this sloping graph or we had to find this sloping graph, so that is the reason you make any arrangement, so it will always hold good. Like here, as you can see, even if it is in decreasing case, it will always hold good. So this is the observation. Like smaller element, greater element, and you need to find if the x whatever is there present in the array element. In this case it is 4 and 4 is all present. So in that case we could make certain arrangement wherein these conditions will not hold good. But if the x value is between smaller and greater, and it is not equals to any of the element, so in that case there is a arrangement wherein that condition is holding, and then in that case you'll have to display no as the answer because it is not separated. So yeah, I think this is pretty observation. So let's try to solve it. So we have test cases. For every test case we have n and x. Okay. Test cases have taken care of this position. For every test case I'm calling solve function, and then n and x we have. And for every uh, test case, in the second line we have elements. So let's take one bool found variable which is initially false. We will take all the elements. We're taking one by one all the elements, and we are checking if this the present element is equals to x. We are making it as true, and then we'll find the smallest and largest element as well. Okay, it will be initialized to int max, and largest will be initialized to int minimum. Now your smallest element will be minimum of smallest value, and largest will be maximum. So we have found the largest and smallest element. Now one thing we'll have to check is if your as I said, if your x is lesser than smallest, or it is your x element is greater than largest, so in that case answer is not possible, right? Answer is not possible in the sense separate is not possible. If it is separate is not possible, then we'll have to display yes. Right, understood. And if it is not the case, then obviously your x is between smallest and largest. Now we need to check if this found, which means your x is present in the array element. So in that case, as we have seen, we could make an arrangement wherein it is not separated. So in this case your answer will be yes, else your answer going to be no. At the end, don't forget to print handle. Let's try to run it. Yeah, it is getting passed. Let's try to submit in the online editor. Yeah, it got accepted. So this was just the observation problem. So like you could observe, like in an array, if you make any arrangement, and if your element x is in between largest and smallest element, so in that case no matter you make any arrangement, there will be a certain point wherein you have element greater than x and less than 1. So this is always true. You will have to observe this, like you have certain elements. So if you sort that element, it will be either increasing or it will be in a decreasing way. But when you try to make arrangements in such a way that it will be a zigzag, right? If it is a zigzag, so there will be always a point wherein in the zigzag, when you have a slope, you will have x in between, right? So yeah, this was it about the problem. Thank you guys.